Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Charm City Sideline Podcast. I'm Zach. This is Brad with me here, and our third, actually, Dawson, is not with us today, but we're going to be getting into the first update of training camp. Really, the biggest headline so far has been Lamar Jackson being sick. It's kind of just taken the news headlines. It's randomly been on First Take. I mean, what the heck is going on with him? But he came back. Brad, do you have any thoughts about that random headline all week?
It's just so weird because, how many times has Lamar been sick since we drafted him?
Oh my gosh.
At least it happened. Hopefully it's only one time a year, but this time it happened in July instead of November. But we'll see. I know he missed that Steelers game in 2020 with COVID, and then 2021 he missed that Bears game that you were at. We did win though. Tyler Huntley was pretty clutch on that final drive.
It was awesome. It was a good game.
That pass to Sammy Watkins down to the 5-yard line. You know, it's funny. Tony Romo and Jim Nantz were calling that game. I don't know.
Isn't that insane? I didn't even know that because I was there, but I was afterwards, I'm like, what? Really? That's sick. It was just so much, especially for those two to be calling that crap of a game at that time is insane. That's actually insane. But we had a big quote out today. Lamar was asked if winning the Super Bowl is his last checkbox after being All-Pro and MVP, and he said, quote, that's been the first checkbox for me since 2018. I said that when I was drafted. I said that, and I mean that. What's the first thing that pops into your head whenever you hear him say that, Brad?
It's great to hear because I think there are a lot of quarterbacks who that's not their main goal. I think there's some quarterbacks who, their main goal is to get paid or to have all the accolades. And the night Lamar was drafted, he said he wants a Super Bowl. And I know we want that for him so badly. It's just it just needs to happen.
Yeah.
But saying that is cliche because, the Chiefs it's just the Chiefs and maybe a different team sometimes. It's it's so hard to do. But I like that he continues to talk about it. He's not scared to bring it up. Is that how you feel?
Yeah, as long as you I think it's a healthy thing almost to point out problems like that sometimes. Hey, it's a goal for me to do this, and seeing it and envisioning it and talking about it and telling people that, want to get big quotes out of you, that type of thing is important, just to see that he's so confident about it that he's okay with everyone else knowing it. It's a big deal. The second quote was, "This is the highest level of this game to play, so you got to go out a champion. That's what I want to be labeled as, a champion, not just an MVP." And that's as blatant of a title for him as it is right now. He's an MVP. He's not a champion. And that's what any talk show would tell you. That's what any podcast would tell you. It's literally the last checkbox. So I even I know Derrick Henry was questioned last week, and he was pretty obviously talking about I'm here to win a Super Bowl. Lamar brings me to the side and says, hey, if we're going to win a Super Bowl, we got to do blah, 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 blah. So it's it feels like it's such a lingering presence. I don't want it to destroy them like it did for us last year, because we were so confident, and even playing the Chiefs, we were confident and thinking that we were going to do it. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I'm just rambling about that. But on the other hand, it's great that everyone on the team is also locked in on it and seems a lot more serious about it.
Yeah, I think there's kind of the two sides of it. You hear some people say one game at a time, you don't want to talk about the end goal. And then you hear other teams say, well, why would you not just address the elephant in the room and talk about the Super Bowl? It's because I kind of see both sides. I could see you just being we got to make it through the first preseason game, and then we got to make it through the second preseason game. And you just take it game at a time.
Yeah.
But when you are a great regular season team, as the Ravens are, you can think about the Super Bowl. But we can talk about this a little bit right now. It's just, we're going to have to beat the Chiefs. And that's why this week one game is so interesting, because if you look at it from a psychological perspective, you could almost feel if we beat the Chiefs week one, we're not going to beat them again in the playoffs. That's one way to look at it. But the other way to look at it is if we lose to them again, and then we have to play them in the playoffs,
yeah,
the chances might feel pretty slim going into that.
Sure. I think it's a pressure almost either way. going into it, you're gonna think, hey, these guys just won the Super Bowl and definitely shouldn't have beat us, but they did. And even they would be humble enough and great enough to say that that's true. Like, to go in and play them week 1, does that make it so, hey, maybe we drop it week 1, maybe we take the L, and then that motivates us for the year? Like, maybe it crushes us for the year, like it's hard to tell. It's a massive psychological game. You're right. It's insane. But I mean, go ahead.
I was just going to say, remember we talked about it with the 49ers Christmas game last year? We were like,
yeah, like
if we beat them, we might not beat them in the Super Bowl, but
yeah,
we didn't even make it. So
it's kind of it really is the same thing, because we expected to be in that situation. Like,
yeah.
And this is the start of the freaking year. Like Kyle Hamilton, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry could get injured week 2, and then it all fall apart. I mean, it's how the NFL is so great. So another big topic was Jonas Schaefer tweeting out that Lamar has been picked off by Marlon 4 times in 3 practices in camp. Does this mean that like Marlo is like all pro Marlo again, or is this Lamar is a little lazy? Like, I can't tell which one it is.
It's so funny what Lamar said. Marlon needs to get his hands right because he dropped a few last year. It's like, it's so like little brother, big brother energy. Lamar is the little brother. Like, he's like, no, I purposely threw those balls to him because he needs to get his hands right. But
I like that.
Man, Marlon dropped so many picks.
Dude, yeah.
But like, he was still good last year and the year before, but he's been dealing with injuries, and also the plays declined a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So this is definitely promising to see. I feel like we've never really had a Marlon Humphrey training camp like.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, I feel like he's never been a guy who's talked about a lot in training camp. So this is a really good sign, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a 4th-round rookie receiver being talked about in training camp. It's Marlon Humphrey.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, when you just talk about the DB room, if we can have like all pro Marlo, not even all pro Marlo, just like get back to that
good one. Yeah, something. Like, I can say that I was on the bus of last year. Like, I mean, I love him. I mean, he's such an energetic, fun, good presence to the defense, and he's a leader, and you can tell that all the young guys like joke around with him, and it's like you said, it's big brother, little brother energy, and I want him to be successful in this way because he absolutely can be. Like, we've seen it before. Like, it's there. And I think last year was just an off year, and I really hope he bounces back, especially, if we take into account Brandon Stevens and Nate Wiggins now. If those two, I haven't heard anything about them in training camp. That's just a side note. But also, those two being impactful means that Marlon's going to be impactful. Like, they all make each other better. So I want them to do good just because of that. But what the heck? I mean, I would love to see these plays. Like, I would love to see if it's Lamar actually like messing it up, or if it's Humphrey making like okay, Marlo. Like, it's like, I would, dude, what I would give to see that.
I want to know because we don't get to see that many plays from training camp. We get to see a Lamar 60-yard touchdown to Zay Flowers on a post every day, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know if it was a deep pass down the sideline or if he jumped a slant. Like, there's so many, you have no idea what it was, but what you were talking about the secondary, man. I think we talked about it a little bit in our training camp preview pod, but like, how special can the secondary be? And I think we signed Eddie Jackson right after we recorded.
Yeah.
That was annoying.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the safety room, Marcus Williams, Kyle Hamilton, Eddie Jackson. We'll talk about Kyle Hamilton a little bit later today, but
I mean, dude, Eddie Jackson, like, I mean, I don't want to be the one to say that we called that, but like, that literally happened the next day. Like, we were all like, dang it, are you kidding me? Like, releasing it as soon as it happens. But like, I mean, you can tell DaCosta's like in the right state of mind, like making sure that we have the ability to go and get these guys that are still out there, that are going to be really cheap, that can provide an impact. Like, I saw someone compare Eddie's contract to like Geno Stone's and like compare the stats, and it's like, what the value of Eddie's contract to us means compared to like how paid Geno is. Oh my goodness. Like it's just a masterclass of a general manager. Like I'm just so happy for him.
And just like you can never have too many safeties and you can never have too many corners.
Yeah.
And I saw people talking about Eddie Jackson saying he like we don't need to pretend he's still a Pro Bowl player because he's not.
Right.
But he's replacing Geno Stone. He's not replacing Ed Reed. He's going to be that third safety. I mean, Kyle Hamilton's probably still going to be the nickel guy in the slot. So, I mean, Eddie Jackson will probably play a lot. But just looking at even the corners too, like when you have Marlon, Stevens, Wiggins as like the three guys.
It's loaded.
Like, and you have like, we could see if Armour Davis is able to hold up. Arthur Millett's been insane in camp.
Oh.
Have you seen he's like diving interceptions and stuff?
No.
That might have been
really?
Getting him from the Steelers, that was one of those random vetman signings, but he was great last year, and he's been great so far in camp. So,
I was so happy they re-signed him. That was a bet. Let's go.
Bringing back Millette and Aguilar were big.
I saw. Well, we're about to get into a different topic about this same, the same discussion, but I saw that Rashad Bateman and Nelson Aguilar are going to be the same Madden rating at 78 overall. Just saying. It's a little weird. I mean, I'm sure Bateman's been a little disappointment, but I mean, wow, that's got to be a low for him. But speaking of Madden ratings, Mr. Kyle Hamilton and the safeties, the top 10 safeties were announced, and wide receivers were. Obviously, we did not have a wide receiver in that mix, but our safety, Mr. Kyle Hamilton, he made it. He was tied for 7th highest at 89. Ranked higher than him were Jesse Bates, Antoine Winfield Jr., Minka Fitzpatrick, Derwin James, Tyrann Mathieu, Budda Baker, and Kevin Byard, who was tied with him at 89. Byard was. I expected this number to be higher, but I do think this is very Madden-like for them to do, where they would go into the year doing it a little under the radar, and then maybe he starts going off, he gets a sack and pick, like big plays over and over again, and then they quickly bump him up. Like that seems like something they do, but as outside, so no, just very focused on watching him. He definitely deserves to be higher than this, right?
Is he not the best safety in the league? I feel like, in my opinion, he's the best safety in the league, and they have him ranked 7th. Like, I don't know that I would. It was Jesse Bates on the Falcons. If the Falcons offered the Ravens Jesse Bates and a first-round pick for Kyle Hamilton,
they would not do it.
They would not do it.
Ravens would not do it. That's right. And Winfield, it becomes a different discussion.
I think Winfield and Hamilton are the two best safeties in the league.
That's the whole. I think that's the topic. I think the top three as of last year, I thought was pretty consensus. It was between Bates, Winfield, and Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah,
but like Derwin James and Minka and Tyrann Mathieu, they kind of have their injury history, so they can be up there. But I was just shocked to see them that high up and above him. It's just kind of like a smack in the face. Once I felt like it was kind of a consensus thing that if someone listed the top three safeties, they would include him right now.
I would expect Winfield and Hamilton to both be like mid-90s as the two highest safeties. And I'd expect Bates to be a low 90. And then I think Budda Baker's right behind Bates. I don't really know what Derwin James and Tyrann Mathieu and Kevin Byard, I don't know what they're doing on this list.
Yeah, I don't know what Byard's doing up there. Maybe he had a good year. Maybe Derwin did. I felt like he was just kind of injured again. Or maybe he was just quiet because the Chargers sucked. So I don't know.
Like, Derwin was insane his first couple years, and then he's just been injured since. So not really his fault, but I just don't understand. I really don't understand Tyrann Mathieu and Kevin Byard. They're both.
Yeah, Tyrann must have had a really quiet, good year because I'm lost on that too. He was very, very, very quiet. along with Byard. I mean, Byard was like, what? Like,
Well, because remember Byard got traded to the Eagles, and then Eagles fans said how bad he was.
wow.
So I don't know.
But hey, man,
But
tied for the same ranking. You know,
when you look,
same
like,
ranking.
it's just when you look at the highlights of Kyle Hamilton, and it's like, just an example, you can't throw a wide receiver screen against the Ravens anymore. Like, he's just there every single time.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, Kelsey beat him a couple times, but the coverage was insane.
Oh yeah.
My friend is a Chiefs fan who I bring up a lot because he has a lot of opinions that I'd like to share.
Mm-hmm.
He said he's never seen better coverage on Kelsey in his life,
Wow.
even though he caught that touchdown in the 4th down play. But we'll see week 1. Week 1, there's so many different little things I'm excited to see.
Yeah. Like, just thinking about that game right now. Hollywood, Xavier Worthy, all playing against our Nate Wiggins, Marlo maybe fully back. Like, what?
Trenton
Like,
Simpson.
that's a crazy game. Yeah, how Trenton plays the first game, how the O-line stacks up.
It's like,
dude.
all
And
the excitement.
The first freaking game, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
of the entire NFL season. Everyone's going to be watching this. Like,
all the excitement of a normal week 1 game, except we're also playing the Chiefs, and it's the first game of the season.
Yeah.
Like, think about how excited we are for a week 1 p.m. Jets game. And this is that, but Chiefs primetime.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, there's like, I wanna watch it in like slow motion or something, and it's 5 weeks away, which is crazy.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of crazy. I saw a tweet that said that we have football this week.
Yeah, isn't there a game
Hall of
in a
Fame
few
game.
days or something?
And I'm like, are you serious? Like, dude, we are right there. Like, that's crazy.
I feel like we just lost the AFC Championship.
Yeah, honestly, the summers flew by in that way. Like, thinking about just football, like, I have a fantasy football draft here in like 2 weeks. Like, dude, it's all like happening. It's about to smack us in the face. It's about to be a lot of fun.
It was like AFC Championship loss, Derrick Henry, training camp.
And now we're here. Yeah. Like, fast forward. Just paused it at Derrick Henry and then kept going.
Yeah.
So our next headline, I mean, it's one you hear every year, it feels like, that we've had him. Mr. Rashad Bateman making some plays early in camp. We have a quote that says he was the top wide receiver through the first week of practice.
Been a lot of people saying that.
Forgive me if I butcher this. Karita Parks on Twitter said that Coach Harbaugh commented on him leaving practice early. I believe that was today.
Yeah.
And
Monday.
It wasn't serious. It's just a little soreness, and they think he's going to be fine. Brad mentioned it to me like right at the beginning. He's like, how many times have we heard that he's been injured and he's going to be all right? Like, it's like, this happens literally. I want to say yearly. I want to say yearly. I feel like it's bi-weekly. Like, it's literally, it's literally every other week now. It's
like, was it? Yeah, no, 2022. How was that 2 years ago already? When he started off really, really well, and then he got injured, played against the Browns in the rain, made a couple plays, and then we had the Bucks on Thursday night, I think, and he was like warming up and stuff, and then they were like, he's out, and he was out for the season.
He's out.
And I remember right when the first injury happened in 2022, they said he was fine. I don't know if it was a re-injury or, I don't know. This thing today is a little concerning.
Yeah.
If it was Zay Flowers, I don't think we would care at all because we'd be like, yeah, right? He's fine. Mm-hmm. It's just the fact that this has happened with Bateman a lot. And I'm not saying it's his fault. It might be the fault of maybe Harbaugh is just protecting him. And I will say, my opinion on this, I do think he probably is fine, but it's a little scary. And also knowing that, I mean, I did see a lot of, headlines and stuff that he was the best receiver the first week of camp.
Yeah.
Now, granted, Lamar wasn't there. So hopefully their chemistry can get on the same page, but I hope he's fine. I feel like if he's not practicing tomorrow, I'll be a little scared.
Yeah, I honestly completely forgot that. Like, I just did not cross my mind thinking about top wide receiver through first week. But I also saw a big name for today. Lamar was talking very likely and his impact on training camp so far. I also saw a take on Twitter that someone said that Likely's maximum capabilities on the football field are above Mark Andrews. And I know that you agree with that. But I think I potentially want to join that group. I'm teetering on it, and I'm really excited to see him this year. I think that's something that's kind of flown under the radar. Likely's obviously kicking butt in training camp against a very capable secondary and linebacker group. I'm just so excited to see him and a healthy Mark Andrews and all that group go to battle together.
What you said about wanting, kind of wanting to join the club of Likely can be better than Andrews, I think every emotionally stable Ravens fan should be in that, because if he's going to be better than Andrews, I mean, why would you not want that? You know what I mean? Like, it's not saying Andrews is going to fall off. It's saying Likely can be better than Andrews.
Yeah.
Which
he has the potential to.
I don't know if it's crazy to say or not, because Andrews did have a 1,300 season and 1,300.
No, it is crazy to say. It's crazy to say. Like, we're talking about an All-Pro, top 3 tight end. Like, people, like, it used to be a discussion that he was, and then it kind of turned into he's a top 3 tight end. It's not stupid to say that we have 2 top 30 tight ends. I don't know where Likely fits in that, but like,
I had an argument
to say that he's going to be better is like, whoa, like that's a big thing.
I had an argument with my roommates back in the semester. I said that we have 2 top 10 tight ends.
Oh gosh,
I got flamed. But when you really look at it,
good.
When you really look at it, if you look at all the tight ends, Likely's like he's somewhere, and he's somewhere like 8 to 12. Like, I truly think that.
I think about it like this: fantasy football. Isaiah Likely is probably going to get taken, maybe as like a, if it's a bigger league and you need a backup, potential, maybe. But that means that he is not anywhere near top 15, 20.
I'll just say, when Andrews gets injured, Isaiah Likely's added on the waivers in a second.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Every time.
Mm-hmm.
And
just because of how big a tight end is to our offense.
He gets like 15 points a game in fantasy.
Yeah.
When he's a tight end 1.
Yeah.
And our offense last year, when he was the tight end 1, was insane. I think that Andrews getting injured was a blessing in disguise, because we were able to get Likely going in that offense.
That's not ridiculous. Yeah.
And now we know. It's like, I saw this thing that was ranking receiving cores, and we were like 22 or something, which I understand if it's just Zay Flowers. But if it's Flowers, Bateman, Andrews, Likely, that's 4. If Bateman's healthy, that's 4 weapons that I fully trust. I trust Aguilar too. I don't know how many teams have 5 receiving weapons that you trust any day of the week.
I wouldn't love to say that I trust Aguilar or Bateman yet. Just to combat what you said there, I'm not fully in on that.
Okay, I agree.
But the other 3, full trust. You got my full trust. And Likely is only done it for kind of 1 season. Like, it's kind of difficult to say that at the same time. I had the same feelings about like Matabike last year whenever we were trying to get him extended. And I'm talking about an all-pro defensive tackle compared to a breakout second half of the season tight end. Like, it's like, to say that, we have very high thoughts about him. It's just, he's going to be in the back seat for a while until we either decide that Mark's got to get traded or that Likely is just too good to not have as our tight end 1, which is a crazy thing to say. But I'm not totally bought in on that. Just talking about it, I'm teetering, though.
I mean, I agree that obviously Andrews is better than Likely. I mean, last year, Likely was the better tight end, but we're not going to base it off of a season. But saying Likely is going to be better than Andrews and saying he could be better than Andrews are 2 very different things. I think he could be better than Andrews, which, I mean, you could say that about anything, but I think it's possible. Staying on the receiving core, one thing I wanted to mention, I saw this a few days ago. I think Zay Flowers said he sees himself as like the fourth option on the team,
Really?
which is, I kind of love him saying that because, yeah, you said Lamar, Derrick Henry, and Mark Andrews.
Oh, okay.
So, but I like that. I like him saying that.
Yeah, honestly, it takes guts to say that. I mean, he knows that, we got Derrick Henry, and that means that Derrick Henry's going to get like 20 carries a game. And Lamar Jackson also exists. So it's going to be like, I don't know, 8 for him minimum. It's going to be right there. Like, they're both going to be the premier talents of the offense. Obviously, Zay's going to exist and he's going to get his, and Mark's going to get his. But it's like, holy crap. It's like for basketball fans, when the Warriors had like KD, Klay Thompson, Curry, like it was like, okay, there's one basketball, by the way. Like there's one basketball. Like you can't have all of these guys shooting at the same time. So I think of it like that. Like we have a good offensive group. We'll talk about the offensive line here in a second, but like it's capable of doing big things.
Yeah, I think we have dealt with receivers in the past who wanted the ball, which I do not disagree with. I think it's good to have receivers want the ball. Todd Monken talked about wanting receivers that want the ball, but I think it's just nice to have a number one receiver who is aware that we run the ball a lot.
Yeah.
We have a quarterback who is probably the second most famous player in the league, and we have a tight end who came in with the quarterback and is a security blanket, and he understands that he might be the fourth option on this offense. I would personally disagree with that. I think by the end of this regular season, we'll say he's our best offensive player besides Lamar. I honestly,
really, huh?
Yeah, I mean, what do you think about that?
As long as Derek stays healthy, I think he's our one. Like, I think it's like so easily. I mean, I guess besides Lamar, this is besides Lamar.
Yeah.
I think if people like Mark stay healthy, he can be a one. Like, Zay has the potential to do it, but I don't think we're going to give him the ball that much. Like, I think it's just kind of, it varies on how the year goes. And that sounds kind of stupid to say, but if I had to pick one person, I think Derrick Henry for sure finishes as that kind of guy. I think in Tennessee, he never got vitalized in passing games just because he's so dominant in running.
Yeah.
But anytime he did get involved, it was like big plays.
A 60-yard screen to the house.
Yeah. Like, it's like, holy crap. And I feel like someone like Todd Monken will be very aware of that and try and mix in him a lot more, because how can you not see Derrick running some like late block and then he goes out, you give it to him, and then a corner has to just one-on-one tackle. Like, nope, there's no chance. So like, I'm sure that gets them excited. I'm sure they are very much game planning for that.
Yeah, the Titans, it's kind of weird sometimes when you feel like as a fan, you might, and I think coordinators can get caught up in the game sometimes and overthink. Mm-hmm. But it's like, even as a fan, when Derrick Henry was in the game, like let's say it's a 3rd and 3, right? Titans have a 3rd and 3.
Sure.
If Derrick Henry's in the game, they run it every single time. And if their backup receiving running back is in the game,
pass it every time.
They passed it every time. And it was so obvious. And I saw a lot of people talking about when we signed Derrick Henry, they were like, oh, now everyone's going to know our play. Like, I don't think it's that like bad. And I also don't think Todd Monken's going to do that, because I've already seen more clips of Derrick Henry catching passes than I've seen in his whole time in Tennessee.
Yeah, that's actually facts. I've seen him too. That's a great point. Switching the topic completely. A big headline today was Matthew Judon getting in an argument with Patriots coach Gerard Mayo after not participating in practice. The video shows them talking, looking like they get a little into it, and then Judon storming off. I think we kind of talked about it the last podcast, but I wouldn't mind seeing Mr. EDC pick up the phone and see what's up. Like, what's up, right?
If we get Matthew Judon, I wish Dawson was here for this.
He'd be hype. He would be absolutely gassing it up too. He would too.
Because then the only knock on our defense right now is, okay, we lost Geno Stone, replaced him with Eddie Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be one of those people that says that's an upgrade. Maybe it's a slight downgrade. Geno Stone had a great year,
Sure.
but it's not much of a downgrade if it is. Trenton Simpson replaces Patrick Queen. But honestly, I think the biggest thing is Clowney's gone.
Yes.
So if you can replace Clowney with Matthew Judon, I actually think then we could possibly have a better defense than last year, that is crazy to say.
Yeah.
But
I think
it would be a
complete
complete,
right? Like,
yeah, definitely.
Judon's paid a lot. If we were to give up a pick, it's a higher pick to maybe cut down on that number. And even then, like, golly, like if we weren't able to, give the money to Clowney, he did get paid, but it's like, I think Judon's still what, like $4 million more. Like,
yeah, he's making a lot of money.
It'd be difficult, but
it's one of those things that
I think it'd be a perfect match.
You always could make it work. You look at the Rams a few years ago. You can make anything work.
Yeah,
it's just sacrificing the future, which I don't know that the Ravens want to do. Mm-hmm. So I feel like he's probably not going to go anywhere, but there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in New England with Matthew Judon right now. And it's one of those things where you're in your back of your mind, you're like, he's never getting traded. We might wake up one morning and he's just on another team.
Yeah. It's just the NFL. Like, as soon as these kind of situations like flutter like this, even though as of late, I guess I feel like it's happening less. So like Ayuk is like, I wouldn't say no to a Brandon Ayuk trade, but he's being a big diva online. Like he's been really putting a lot of stuff out in different Instagram videos, like talking crap about being on the team or about the Niners. Like, it's stuff like that. Like, I feel like if people won out enough, they can really destroy their reputation enough to do it.
You can make your way out of the team.
Yeah. It's insane. I wanted to comment on one more thing about some position group. I feel like besides Derrick Henry, I've heard nothing about running backs. Have you heard anything really? I mean, people are, can constantly bring up Keaton Mitchell, coming back, oh, he's looking good. I saw he got put on the PUP list. I mean, anything like that you know of? Because I honestly, that's what I'm interested in. If I were listening to this, I would want to hear someone talk about that because I've heard nothing about it. Have you seen anything about that?
I honestly haven't seen anything about the running backs. I will say Keaton Mitchell's on the PUP list.
Mm-hmm.
I would guess he comes back November, something around there, because he got injured it was the Jags game. I think it was November or December. You can come back from an ACL in 9 months. I don't think that would be smart for the Ravens to do, especially when we have Derrick Henry and Justice Hill, who is a very capable receiving back. So if we're going to, talk about the running back room, Derrick Henry is the starter. And then you have Justice Hill, who was really good last year. He had to play a couple games.
Yeah, he was awesome.
And he was solid. I know people are talking about a third running back a lot, but I think Rasheen Ali, our rookie 7th round pick, I think that's perfect. I don't think you can get much more. I would rather have him than Dalvin Cook. I feel like most people would. And I think Keaton Mitchell's, I'm honestly I forget about Keaton Mitchell. We're going to get him back this season.
Yeah.
That's exciting to think about.
What I didn't think about before we mentioned this, training camp for running backs is never really a big thing, unless they're involved in the pass game a lot.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're going to get our real look at the depth chart for the running backs whenever we get to preseason stuff. We'll see Ali and we'll see maybe a little bit of Justice Hill in there. We'll see some other guys just to see who fits in. And that'll be our real look at them because, in practices and stuff, they don't want to freaking lay out running backs. They're always letting them go through and stuff like that. So Trenton Simpson, I'm sure he's going to get some play in preseason, just a little, just to see how he's hitting people and, people like that. I'm excited just for seeing preseason games alone, just because of some positions we haven't heard of. One position we have been hearing a lot of is offensive line news. Ronnie Stanley had an interview today saying our rookie Roger Rosengarten is going through the rookie motions. So maybe he's struggling a little bit. I don't know. Maybe he is. But is confident he's a pro. He also mentioned Andrew Voorhees is learning things quickly in the offense. I think Voorhees has been a big name that's been floated around so far in training camp. What do you think about Roger and Andrew making headlines?
I mean, it's definitely hopeful.
Two thumbs up.
Yeah. Hearing Ronnie Stanley, who was a former All-Pro left tackle, talk about Rosengarten like that. I mean, it's good to hear. Obviously, the plan for Rosengarten is to be our starting right tackle this year. We'll see if maybe McCary starts the season. But I think Rosengarten will be our starting right tackle at some point this year. And I feel like he won't be great, won't be terrible, which is fine for a right tackle. That's Morgan Moses.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then hopefully he's our franchise left tackle. I mean, that's kind of a big ask for a second-round pick, be our left tackle for the next 10 years. But it's definitely, I'll say this. I think the future of our O-line is a lot brighter than our 2024
Really?
O-line.
Huh.
Because when you look at our 2024 O-line, you have Ronnie Stanley, who we can't fully trust that he's going to play 17 games. I mean, I think you could almost put a bet on it that he won't play 17.
Yeah.
And then you have two guards who, if it is Voorhees and Falele, who's been playing right guard in camp, two guards who've never played the position in NFL snap in their life,
and
then a rookie right tackle.
So what I think of this, sorry to cut you off, Voorhees is obviously talented, had issues with injury stuff, and we want to play him. I think it's like, I feel like it's obvious the offense wants him to play. But I think Falele is talented enough to where he deserves a shot. So if you put him in competitions against these guys, he's going to motivate them. Like, he's going to be a guy that is playing his butt off. We looked it up before the podcast. He's 6'8", 379, when the average NFL guard is 6'4", 315. So we're talking about like he's supposed to be a tackle, right?
He's bigger than a tackle, but he's supposed to be a tackle.
So as a tackle, if you're going, tackles are kind of around that height though. Like, they're known for being larger human beings like that. So whenever you put him against Voorhees, we didn't look up how tall he is, but like, dude, that's intimidating, bro. Like, you think that guy's going to take my job so easily, but it's like, I feel like it would motivate all sides. I think it's just a perfect coaching thing. I think it's like, it's just going to make them all better. And Ronnie talking highly of them, it's like, it's honestly giving me a glimpse of how the coaching staff would work and how they're trying to like build up the players in this way and deciding who's going to play and how much.
We might have the most unique starting O-line in the season.
Yeah.
Like, if you got Voorhees, who was great towards ACL, whatever. We talked about him a lot. You have the smallest center ever with Linderbaum, and then right next to him, you probably have the biggest guard ever.
Yeah, that would be insane.
I mean, that's just pretty funny. Like,
I'm looking out. Voorhees is 6'6", 311.
So he's a pretty big guy too.
He's basically the average NFL 311. Like, that's
Falele's 380.
I know, right? Like, what? Like, he's meant to play tackle. Like, he's not supposed to be playing the other. He's meant to be a brick wall. But the Ravens believe he's believed to be a brick wall at anywhere on the O-line. So in this case, if he's blocking anyone for Derrick Henry, let him do it. Like, if he's going to be our guard, like, dude, yeah, I know what you're about to say. Imagine freaking Derrick Henry running behind that wall of a freaking line.
We're in I formation.
Oh, you're about to say Ricard.
Ricard is at fullback. Derrick Henry's at tailback. And we just run halfback gut right behind Falele. So you see Falele
chance.
coming at you, and you see Ricard coming right behind Falele, and you see Derrick Henry behind Ricard. I feel like you just tuck and roll at that point.
Yeah, you just
I would tuck and roll if I just saw Falele coming at me. Put Ricard behind him, then Derrick Henry behind Ricard. I mean, that is just.
But yeah, Voorhees. I'm reading this right now, but Voorhees was given high praise from Michael Pierce. He said he saw a lot of potential in him. I mean, just feels like.
Oh, that's good to know.
It honestly makes me, from our last podcast, we all kind of built up this nervousness in the O-line to me, and this kind of like makes it all float away. Like I'm like, wow, maybe it can be good. But I'm like I'm just feeling really good about it right now. Like I should be building it up that much, but
I don't know about float away. I think my concern from the O-line went from a 9 out of 10 to a 8.5 out of 10.
Really? That little? No, I would bring it down a good, like, if it was at 9, I would bring it down to like 6. Just because that's like my regular nervous rating for him. So maybe like a 5. Maybe like a 5.
If we sign a veteran tackle, I'll go down to a 5.
I don't think we will. I don't think so.
You don't think
so? That does not click in my head. I think there's too many talented guys now. Makari and Falele, and
I think
they all gotta get a chance.
I think EDC is gonna make one more signing. It's either gonna be a tackle or a pass rusher.
I see pass rusher. If I had to pick one.
Just because we love defense.
Yes. Or if he makes a call to the Patriots and they hang up on him, then we're like, all right, I guess you get.
You know who I think is still available?
Jason Pierre-Paul? No.
Is Yannick Ngakoue still available?
Oh yeah, I think he is.
Yeah, he is.
I think
that'd be an interesting repairing.
He didn't have the greatest experience though, didn't he?
Oh, with us.
I heard him. I thought I remember him talking about not being the right system with him. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure he did, but that was a different DC.
That's true, different. Yeah, different coordinator.
He had
maybe
3
Zach
sacks.
Can slip him right in. You know,
I feel like it's talked about how he was just terrible with us. He played 9 games. He had 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles.
Oh.
I mean, 2 forced fumbles, that's making an impact right there. And 3 sacks. I mean, obviously, he was
underwhelming.
Yeah.
I remember the hype of being in the car reading that tweet that we traded for him and geeking out.
Because
freaking out.
When we traded for him, he had 5 sacks in 6 games. And then in their last 9 games, he had 3. So I guess I can understand.
Yeah.
At the same point, I mean, he had 9.5 sacks in 2022 and 4 sacks last year. I mean, he's still a capable player. Like, I feel like you could. I don't know why that would not be a.
I'm sure there's other guys that might fit in a little better. Like, I don't know if he would really want to come back. Unless we gave him a little money.
If we're giving him more money than anyone else is offering, he would.
Which might not be any money at the moment. So maybe. I don't know. I'd be interested. I think that's our last edition, though. I think that's right.
I think we should sign Donovan Smith. He started like 10 games for the Chiefs last year.
But would we say that was like a reason they won the championship or anything?
I mean, it definitely wasn't. But I mean, was Morgan Moses the reason we were 14-3 last year? I don't think so.
No.
I mean, I would just like to have a little bit more stability at tackle. Because, okay, let's say Ronnie Stanley gets injured. Right?
Week 1. First play, dead.
If Ronnie Stanley gets injured, let's just go through it, right? Left tackle would be Rosengarten. It'd be Rosengarten, Voorhees, Linderbaum, Falele, McCary.
I was interested to see who you'd put. That's what. And then McCary. Yeah.
That's scary.
It's scary, but that's not a not capable group. That's a capable group. That's not a lie over and die. Like if we played the Steelers, I'd be pissing my pants. But I mean, if we just had a regular week, I don't know. Wouldn't be crazy.
I mean, I would not be thrilled with that O-line going into the playoffs.
Yeah. That's what
I'm not thrilled with the current O-line.
I'm only growing in confidence of this because of the good words. But it'll be proven definitely on Thursday night in 5 weeks. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for. Oh no, do you have something else to say?
I was just gonna say, imagine it's like week 1, we're all concerned about the O-line, and Derrick Henry just rushes for like 180 yards.
Dude, he's not had this good of an O-line, and this is not anything that's crazy great. I mean, like,
yeah,
I high expectations. I hope he gets like 20 carries, and Mark shows up. Like, that's all I'm asking for.
yeah.
You're gonna just shows up. Maybe some little flashes from the defense. But I hope it goes well. That'll be such a great game to talk about whenever the preview happens.
Let's see. Let's check out the calendar real quick. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're 5 weeks away from recording that preview show.
Okay.
5 weeks and a few days away from the game, which is crazy.
Whew. Right around the corner. Plus all of this preseason stuff that's going to happen. That's going to be fun to talk about.
Yeah.
Because, like, so many groups that aren't making any noise right now. Like, we're definitely going to have one of the pass rushers from this preseason group that kind of, like, is in the back end of the depth chart make it. Like, he'll there's a few names that we've talked about before, but, if there's another one that is alarmingly great preseason, that'll be exciting. Like, I'm excited for it. It's going to be fun. And even this first week of training camp had a lot of random headlines, but it was like pretty exciting to like randomly check my phone. I'm like, Lamar's sick like 24/7. Oh, what? Marlon's picking off Lamar 4 times. Like, what is it? We're living in a freaking different universe. We're living in like 3 years ago. Like, what the crap is happening?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a lot of stuff to talk about, and it's fun because that we need it, especially with it so close. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please make sure to like, subscribe, rate the podcast. We'll be back next week, hopefully with Dawson. Hopefully the full barn will be back. But thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.